Hello and welcome to the show. I am back on Forza 6 with another silly car build. And my vehicle today, it's the Ghibli. The Maserati Ghibli is back on the Forza franchise, which I am very glad to see. Yes, I do know it's pronounced Ghibli. However, in FailRace, this has always been called the Ghibli. That is just the way things are, okay? Accept it. Yeah, this is another one of these cars I was really glad to see come back. I loved the Ghibli. It was a fantastic car. And yeah, I wanted to try and turn it, or to see how crazy we could make this car. And to make things interesting, you see, we took the Ford Country Squire around a nice, dry, admittedly quite bumpy circuit. I thought to really test the Maserati, though, we were going to make it ridiculously powerful and then ask it to deal with a wet track. However, before we can get the Maserati out, we of course must set a target time for it to try and beat. This time out, I fancied having a go in the wet, and well, there's only one car that I could use for a target. It was going to have to be a V8 supercar. I'm a big fan of the Volvos, so we are going to be running McLaughlin's Volvo and see how that fares around Sebring in the rain. I mean, this is going to be a pretty tough vehicle to drive here to begin with. You know, a V8 supercar has got a lot of power going through the rear wheels to be dealing with a very, very soggy Sebring, let alone when it comes to the to the Maserati. So yeah, I'm going to give it a try. I've got 5 laps to set as quick a time as possible that I can with my Volvo. Hopefully, fingers crossed here, we won't end up pointing backwards, we won't end up in a wall somewhere. That is a concern that we will have to be dealing with. Off the line, of course, as you would expect, there is much wheel spin. Once we get it up into second, though, it's not too bad getting it braked down into turn 1. We go through kind of the mist and the murk. It's the great big puddle that I have fears of. Hey, okay, I thought it'd be alright if we got into third gear. Apparently not. Okay, it's kind of flat out down there. It does want to slide. Puddle, how do we fare? Actually, really quite good. The V8 supercar is much nicer over the puddle than the World Touring car was. Oh, brakes, though, of course, we don't have the braking now that we are in the wet. We've got a very, very fast car. Second gear is slidey. Second gear is a basically slidey gear. In this car, if you want to get the Volvo out of shape, leave it in second. And the problem is they are all second gear corners around here. If I leave it in third, yeah, I think if I leave it in third, it's just going to be too higher a gear. I mean, this one here may even be a first gear. I don't think I want first gear around there. That is just asking for trouble, asking to go very sideways. Oh, these quick change of directions around Sebring are interesting. Running the curve, and be careful of the puddles. Sort of find the gap through the puddles as we come down the start finish straight of this circuit. We will get up some serious speed, relatively serious speed, down here towards turn 1. What are we doing? 150 miles an hour. We're on the brakes. We're not stopping. We're not stopping at all for that. I pushed it too hard. In the wet. Never mind. We'll just take the escape road around here. We can get away with that. It's quite damp out there. Not really an ideal line, but never mind. Okay, we've got to brake a little bit earlier than the 300-meter board. We're really good through this puddle, though. Like, oh, I have a little lift going into it, but it's so much more stable through there than the touring cars were. The touring cars wanted to snap and kill you. I thought this was going to be worse, being rear-wheel drive and whatnot, but no, the Volvo is actually really quite good through that horrible, horrible puddle. It works well. This puddle up here is just an awkward position for a puddle. On that corner is yeah, it's kind of a case of, do I want to drive straight through it, but I'll probably aquaplane, or do I try to avoid it? But then of course you miss the apex by an absolute mile. So all of these things that you've got to be thinking about and deciding when it comes to dealing with the rain. And then we have the lack of grip in general. The brakes aren't quite as good as you are perhaps expecting them to be, and so on. Yeah, I mean, the Volvo is certainly a challenge. I actually thought it was going to be a bit more tricky to drive around here. You can kind of see the back end, it's wiggling, it's kind of fighting me through that long corner there, but it's not letting go. We're not going hugely sideways around some of these fast corners. We have now got it stopped into turn 1. I don't really want to put it in first. I think we would just spin the wheels manically coming out of the hairpin. I might try next time around. I still prefer running the curb a little bit down here. It keeps the car happier. It's definitely the better way, or certainly the better way for me to be taking it. Oh no, because we carried a lot more speed down there because we were better across the puddle. So much to think about when you've got a car this fast when it comes to dealing with it in the rain. I mean, the cars I've driven previously, I mean, the World Touring cars are quick, don't get me wrong, they are very quick cars. They're not quite like this though. This is a lot more to be thinking about. Around here, please stop for this corner and don't do the silly things that I did with the Civic. We're not playing in the grass, it's good. We're on for a slightly better lap this time around. Still not a particularly good one. Oh, we're going to play out wide over there. There's no grip out that way. Yeah, if we put it in third gear and boot it, on the whole, it's pretty good. If we try and, if we get carried away through here, I can get the back end sliding, but if I'm careful with it, it will stay nicely on the road. Right, what's it? 13.8 as a lap time so far. Please slow down, please turn. Thank you very much, car. Oh, curb was a bad idea. Curb on that part was a really bad idea. Well, the curbs around this part here have screwed over many a silly car build on Forza 5. No, we're fine across there. The curbs are quite nasty on Forza 6 from what I have been seeing, especially when we've got all of this power and not much of the grip around a track like this one here. We've got to be careful with which ones we run. That's why I'm so surprised the attack the curb through the puddle works as well as it does. Okay, we are perhaps, I'm perhaps being a little cautious, but then we're in the wet in a V8 supercar. You kind of got to be cautious to an extent so you don't constantly keep falling off the road. This lap I'm pretty pleased with though. This one here is a better lap, trying to get on the power out of these second gear corners is surprisingly difficult. Right, slow it down around this final turn and try and get on the power without going sideways. There we go. We got it flat out in second gear. You can do it. Oh, now it's the back end's just wanting to start a wiggle again, but more wiggling from the Volvo. Very wiggly car, this one, in the wet. And this is the the race car, not even the silly car build yet. Get it stopped into turn one. We're not got it stopped, I pushed it too hard. 12.6 second lap time is going to be the target. I'm not going to be able to go quicker on this one. Yeah, I pushed it a little bit too hard. It's so easy. If you miss your braking point, it only takes a tiny, tiny little bit to have missed your braking point by, and then that's you off. That's you across the grass, and you can't do anything about it. But if I'm a moron with the throttle, of course the Volvo will slide around massively. There we go. It's not particularly hard to make a V8 supercar slide around when it comes to the wet. I am surprised though. I am pleasantly surprised by, you know, it is really rather controllable if you want it to be. If you drive it carefully, relatively carefully. I mean, it's not sort of, you know, you can't go near the throttle whatsoever. Provided you drive it relatively sensible. I mean, the Volvo, it really does not fare too badly in the rain. I was expecting a lot more of a ridiculous vehicle, but no, the V8 supercar was pretty damn good. We're going to play in a puddle now. That was yeah, and drifting and sliding around, not really my sort of thing here. But yeah, the Volvo is going to set the target timer. 1:12.6 is the time to beat with for the Maserati. Yeah, Volvo was I had a couple of little escapes of the roads. Sure, you can spin the wheels up, but it's a lot easier to keep it under control than I was expecting. Of course, very good fun challenge, trying to drive a V8 supercar around in the wet. But yeah, there we go. We have our target time for the Maserati to try and beat. And now it is time to turn the Maserati into, well, something really rather crazy. As of course we are not going to be keeping the car's standard engine. There are a couple of choices for this vehicle. I mean, certainly the standard engine is all well and good for lower classes, but we're going to be making this one really very, very powerful. The choices are the 5.2 litre V10, I believe is a Lamborghini Gallardo engine, that one, or the 4.5 litre V8 from the Ferrari 458. They actually both have exactly the same stats from standard, except for the V8 is ever so slightly heavier. What do we go for? That is the question. I seem to remember the V8 can get slightly more power unless things have changed. So we are going to go with we'll go with the V8 powered Maserati Ghibli, because why on earth not? Turbos, we will go with or aspirations, I should say. We will be going with the twin turbos again. You can get more power out of the twin turbos. So now we are pretty much at the same power, roughly the same power and torque, slightly lighter than the V8 supercar. We're certainly not done with this car yet. We are going to be wanting these. These are going to be quite important. We're dealing with the rain, and we are going to be wanting every little bit of help that we can get. It's a fairly decent wing on the back of the Ghibli. Tyres are also going to be a very interesting thing. I'm really hoping that we can get some decent sized tyres. Of course, put the car on race tyres, we will get it up into S-Class. We will probably out-PI the V8 supercar by the time I'm finished with this. But will it be able to outdrive it? 285s on the rear. So we've got smaller tyres than we had on the Ford Country Boat, and we're going to be dealing with the water. I would like much bigger tyres. 285s are okay tyres, but dealing with rain... who knows? Now, you will have noticed that, yes, I've put the car on essentially racing slicks, as you'll see in the menus. The game will adjust. It will put the car on suitable tyres. So if I've got a racing tyre compound now, it'll give me a racing equivalent wet tyre. So don't need to worry about any of that crazy. I'm not bothering changing with the wheels. I can't be faffed with doing that. I know they save weight, but I would just go for the lightest set of wheels I could find, and it would look god-awful unless I spent forever trying to find a pair that I liked. So I never really bother changing the wheels. It never really bothers me particularly. With the cars, we will put on the rest of these racing parts, try and get as much weight out of the vehicle as we can. Stick on a diff as well while we are here. And then we go to the handling bits. Yeah, we're definitely going to out-PI the V8 supercar. Brakes are going to be very, very important. We're going to be trying to get this thing stopped in the wet and so on. Racing suspension as well. It's just let's just try and make the car hopefully go around a corner without floundering around. As I said, the V8 supercar did a really good job of being able to put its power down onto the road despite the conditions. So I'm hoping, we've got okay tyres on this car. I'm hoping we might not be too terrible. Our cage isn't actually too heavy in the Ghibli, which is a plus, although we are going to take a whole heap of weight off, 500 pounds. So we're much lighter than the V8 supercar, and we're going to be an awful lot more powerful. And we're going to be tackling a very, very wet course. Now it comes to the engine, and the power is going to be ramping up. We're almost up to the 700 horsepower now. If I remember correctly, this engine can get about 920-ish horsepower out of it, and we're still shaving some weight off. There we go. We're under the 2,600 pound mark now, and sticking the cams, we're up to 734 horsepower. Not the most torquey of engines, but it's still going to have quite a lot. And the turbos are going to whack the power up, 860 horsepower. Yeah, this is going to be very, very sideways, and the intercooler is going to add 914 horsepower, 615 foot-pounds of torque in a rear-wheel drive Maserati, and we are going to be driving in the very, very wet at Sebring. Oh dear God. The plus side is being a Maserati, there is a good chance that it'll break down before we ever get it going. That is always a possibility with the Italian cars. But yeah, the Maserati here is it is a scary prospect, certainly, with this much power and not quite as big a task as I would like dealing with the rain. But we are going to have to see if it is capable of beating a Volvo V8 supercar. Right, it is very, very sideways time. I would imagine from the Ghibli. You never know though. I've been surprised by many cars before in these series. How will the Maserati? Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to be particularly surprised by the by the Ghibli. Right, careful. Oh, the curb is horrible. It really is very, very bumpy through there. Now, if we are gentle, feeding the power, and there we go. Oh dear God, we're very, very sideways. At 90 miles an hour is scary. How do we deal with the puddle? Not as nicely as the Volvo. The Volvo was much nicer through the puddle, and then I can't use any power. Brakes are okay. It's the thing is, I'm not actually getting this anywhere near up to the speeds that the Volvo was. So at the moment, sure, the brakes feel half decent because I'm not really getting any speed from the Ghibli. It's just, oh no, we're never stopping there. Oh, tyre bundle. Oh, throw the car in slightly sideways. We haven't taken any damage to it though. I tried to minimise that. I got a wheel on the grass and you're just not stopping. There is nothing you can do with a wheel on the grass in the wet. So we have clonked the front ever so slightly. Dear God, it picks up speed like crazy once you do get it going, but you just can't get it going very often. Right, there we go. Carefully does it out of that particular corner. Around this final turn, it is a long corner for the Maserati, and then here comes the power. I wonder how quick can we get it in a straight line. The V8 Supercar is about 140. Can we be flat around this corner here? No, not really. Not really, but it's 140 miles an hour already. Holy crap, 160 in the wet. It is so fast. Yeah, we're never stopping down there. Okay, braking distances. The braking boards are useless. If you see the braking boards, you've crashed, basically. Or if you see the braking boards, sorry, and you're not on the brakes already, you have crashed. So, we may as well just ignore them and make up our own braking points. The puddle is horrible. In fact, down here we might be a little bit better with the braking boards because we have to end up going so slowly through that puddle, as you just can't carry the speed. The Volvo was, even if I wasn't attacking the curb, even if I just drove through the puddle normally, the Volvo was, you could carry so much more speed. You couldn't quite be flat out, you did have to have a lift. I'm going to do the same thing again, back wheel on the curb. Now I hope we rescued it and avoid the big puddle on the inside. Yeah, that's perfectly what I intended to do. Completely and utterly what I was, no, please stop. Please stop. The acceleration is acceleration is insane. I'm going through the career mode. I had a Celine S7. I was racing this S-Class, the Celine, and that's a stupidly fast car. This is so much quicker than anything else I've driven on this game when it comes to the accelerating. So we are trying to go around this corner here. Oh, if I could actually get the power down. This is the sort of speed the V8 Supercar is getting to at the end of the straight, and we're trying to get it coming onto the straight. That's just how fast the Maserati is. I braked so much earlier, we still can't stop. There is just no... It doesn't stop for that first corner. We've got to start braking. Yeah, I mean, that was a lot earlier on the brake than I was the first time round, and nope, we're still not going to make it. Well, we're just making up our own Sebring track. Oh, piss. We're losing it. Okay, curb is better. Curb is a good idea for this. Oh, it's 130 down this next straight. If we keep it together, maybe it could beat the V8 Supercar. I don't know. I mean, it's biblically quick when we get it on a straight, but then it's just crawl around here, wait to get on the power, because all it wants to do is go sideways. And again, down these corners here are really tough. You just can't get on the power at all, especially not with a puddle on the outside there. I'm trying to be brave. Uh-oh, I've missed that corner completely. We're not stopping. We just have to tip it in there. I was not making that. It just accelerates so quickly. It keeps catching me out. Down there. All right, we've got 2 more laps though. I know where I'm making mistakes. I know what I need to do. Brake a lot earlier for turn 1, and that sort of second to last corner. Got to be a lot careful at coming into there, trying to use power down here, and it's not working. It's it's 130 miles an hour that we're going sideways at. It's not really ideal. Please stop. Thank you. Yeah, maybe we're going sideways down the straight. That does help. We don't pick up anywhere near as much speed going towards turn 1, so we can actually get the car slowed down. Oh, good God. Come on now. Come on, Maserati. Stop trying to snap on me. Wheel on the curb. I missed the curb ever so slightly. We are okay, though. We survived it around there. Squeeze the throttle, and suddenly we're going very quickly indeed. Right. Better around this first part. Still not perfect. Trying to get the hang of this car in 5 laps in these conditions is bloody tough. It is just so unbelievably quick accelerating once you finally get that power down. Right, it's here where we've also got to not make a mistake. Right, so it bursts up into wheel spin as you go sort of boot it in third. But if we almost go, you're sort of braking so much earlier. Whoa! I don't know what we hit. We found a pothole at Sebring. I don't know why the car got fired onto 2 wheels, but it did. And now we unleash the power. Let's not quite go as crazy as we were last time around this sort of kink on the straight. Just gradually feeding that power, trying to get it to pick up speed. 140 as we left the corner. And then we jump on the brakes. Oh, this might stand a chance, you know. This might stand a chance of beating the V8 Supercar. if I can get this lap cleanly, if we can get everything, if we can put everything together here, if we can do that, maybe it can go quicker than a V8 supercar. In the pouring rain, it was good. Pleased with this thing so far. Oh, I put it into first. We don't really want that. It is just coast around the corner and try and feed in that power across the puddle instead. See, we were flat out through this bit in the touring cars. You're nowhere near flat out in around here. Actual fact, speaking of lap times, what were the touring cars doing? It was a 14s I was in the touring cars, so the touring car is not that much slower than this crazy thing. And oh, we're running a little bit wide through there. I don't know. It was a really good start to the lap. It's not been such a good end to the lap this time around. If we can keep it together around this final corner and then try and be neat coming on to the start-finish straight. We've got to want to feed in as much power as I can, but of course we don't want to get the car sliding. It has burst up into wheel spin. Now it's to run towards the line for the Ghibli. It is a 12.787. 1/10. And I know I messed up that second sector a little bit. It was so hard to try and keep it all together. 1/10 separated a Volvo V8 supercar, whoopsie, and a 900 horsepower Maserati. God, it is incredibly difficult driving these cars in the rain. You've got to think so much about what you're doing with them. Bloody good fun though. I do love the challenge of driving in the rain. Yeah, the Maserati. Admittedly, maybe that's slightly cheaty, as I think I perhaps go on the brakes. If I don't go on the brakes before the line, it's just around there, so I may have gained a little bit because I knew I was finishing. But yeah, the Maserati is again. I thought it was going to be god awful. It was tough to drive. It could have been a lot worse though. It could have been a lot worse in the Maserati. I'm going to go play around in the in the puddles. Yeah, It did well. The Ghibli certainly did me proud. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. There's just something interesting over there. I've got to go see. Hold on. What is that up there? Okay, it's it's an interesting sort of food stand. From a distance, it looked like it was a funny shape. Never mind. Ignore me. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. And until next time, goodbye.